नमस्कार दोस्तों, मैं हूँ रोहित पराड़कर और ये है यहाँ पे नई Mercedes-Benz SL 7th जनरेशन ऑफ द SL। शुड आई कॉल इट द Mercedes AMG SL क्योंकि ये सिर्फ AMG फ्लेवर में ही अवेलेबल होगी। दिस इज़ द SL55 AMG। You can see the AMG grill at the front. So here in terms of the grill, अगर आप ये वेन्स या फिर नंबर ऑफ वर्टिकल स्लैट्स देखें, 14 वर्टिकल स्लैट्स हैं इसमें। दैट इज़ इंस्पायर्ड बाय द 1952 SL रेसर, जिससे बेसिकली इन सब गाड़ियों का जन्म हुआ है। दिस लीनिएज कम्स फ्रॉम द SL रेसर। तो ये जो नंबर ऑफ स्लैट्स हैं दैट कम्स फ्रॉम दैट रेस का। अगर आप नीचे की ओर देखें तो यू ऑल्सो सी दीज मैसिव वेंट्स, massive air intakes. You can see the radiators behind that. So that is again a very nice stylized element. ये कलर में आपको मिलता है और जो अंदर के फिन्स हैं वो ब्लैक कलर में मिलते हैं। और ऊपर अगर हेडलाइट्स की बात करें तो कंपेयर टू समथिंग लाइक द AMG GT, काफ़ी शार्प डिज़ाइन है हेडलाइट्स का। यू गेट द ड्यूअल पॉट अरेंजमेंट एंड देन यू गेट दैट रिवर्स टिक on the DRL signature. I think even that looks very beautiful. यहाँ आपको parking sensors नज़र आएंगे, but you also get the radar tech. You also see the camera on top. So all of that is here. Under this long nose is the same engine. There, it's just started. Let's also try and give you a listen. I'm also going to quickly show you how to get the roof down. It's a simple swipe. Instead of switches, you just simply swipe on the screen and the roof comes down, and it takes around 15 seconds for the roof to come down. You will see some nice theatrics here, the way the panels go back in. You will see that right here. Okay, they're still sort of showing it for other users here as well, other content creators. So it takes 15 seconds to go up or come down, and it can happen speeds up to 60 kilometers an hour. तो 60 के स्पीड तक आप इसको रूफ को ऊपर या नीचे कर सकते हो। You also get this beautiful spoiler at the back, जो which will raise at speed when it needs better downforce. So we'll also take a look at those theatrics if our friend there, yeah, there you go. You can see the spoiler coming up. You can see the SL55 badging इसके नीचे ही। यहाँ पे आपको SL55 बैजिंग नज़र आएगी। You see the AMG बैजिंग। यहाँ पे आपको quad exhaust pipes भी नज़र आएंगे। सॉफ्ट लिमिटर है गाड़ी में, तो ज़्यादा उसको जगह पे आप रेव करके you can't really make it too noisy for the other road users or your environment. But yeah, it's a fairly good sounding engine. We know that it's a 4-liter bi-turbo V8. ये वही engine है जो आपको AMG GT में भी नज़र आता है। Not a big fan of this panel on top, but anyway, this engine puts out 476 PS of power. Again, very similar to the AMG GT Roadster. 700 Newton meter का torque है गाड़ी में. And in terms of the positioning, this will sit above the AMG GT. I know कि बहुत सारे लोग AMG GT Roadster के साथ इसके comparisons draw करेंगे, लेकिन come on, this is the SL. इसकी जो lineage है, that's a very strong lineage, and I'm going to come to that in a bit. But even today, जो अलग generations of the SL हैं, you know, हर गाड़ी की जो resale value है या जो market value है today, it's in millions. Because SL हमेशा एक collector's item होती है. It's a very rare car. It's a very limited car in that sense. They don't necessarily limit every model to a certain number, but you know, in terms of the collectible value of it, it's just very high. So that was the exhaust note for you. जैसे मैंने कहा soft limiter है इस पे, तो exhaust note is of course not going to be very loud. In fact, आप जितने बार उसको ज़्यादा रेव करने की कोशिश करेंगे उतना ज़्यादा वो खुद को लिमिट करते जाएगा. Anyway, once our friend walks out, yeah. So this is a 20-inch rim. This is shot with Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tires. 20-inch rim है ये. This is 295 section. अगर आप चाहो तो 19 इंच या फिर 21 इंच ऑप्शंस भी चूज़ कर सकते हो. अगेन यू सी द स्टील ब्रेक्स इनसाइड, लेकिन कार्बन सिरेमिक ब्रेक्स का भी आपको ऑप्शन मिलता है. एंड ऑन द व्हील यू विल ऑल्सो सी दीज एरोडायनेमिक पैनल्स, दीज थिन ब्लेड्स, दीज एरोडायनेमिक ब्लेड्स फॉर बेटर एरोडायनेमिक एफिशिएंसी. एंड दीज आर लाइट वेट अलॉयज ऑल्सो. SL का मतलब sporty and light, and of course you know, weight reduction is very important. जैसे मैंने कहा सिर्फ AMG वेरिएंट में ही बनती है अभी SL, so weight reduction is all the more important because it's an AMG. एंड दैट इज़ द रीज़न वाई इस गाड़ी में आपको फैब्रिक रूफ मिलता है, मेटल रूफ नहीं मिलता. प्रीवियस जनरेशन ऑफ द एसएल वी हैव सीन द मेटल रूफ्स एज वेल, बट यहाँ पे आपको मेटल रूफ नहीं मिलता. दैट हेल्प्स मर्सिडीज सेव 21 kilos on the weight. आपको इस पावर ट्रेन, इस सस्पेंशन के साथ अलग अलग ड्राइव मोड्स भी मिलते हैं. एंड यू कैन सी दैट यू कैन चेंज दो ड्राइव मोड्स राइट फ्रॉम द स्टीयरिंग. सो यू हैव कंफर्ट, sport plus, economy, etc. I don't know if the economy mode is there or not. I don't think it will have an eco mode, but we'll verify that with the drive later. ये बाजू का अगर आप स्विच देखेंगे, यहाँ पे you can make changes to the suspension, you can deploy the spoiler, etc. All that will happen. If you look at the design of the steering wheel, it gets that two-spoke design there that again comes from the newer generation Mercedes-Benz cars. और आपको वहाँ पे ये बड़ा screen भी नज़र आएगा. In fact, I'm just going to hop into the other side so that I give you a much cleaner look of the screen. So that's the screen for you. Again, inspired from something like the S-Class. S-Class में हमने screen देखा है. Of course, newer Merc cars are also getting that. लेकिन because ये open top है, काफ़ी सारा overhead sun के टाइम पे glare आ सकता है उसके ऊपर. उसके चलते ये जो स्क्रीन है उसकी एंगल आप चेंज कर सकते हो. सो राइट नाउ यू कैन सी अ कम्प्लीटली अपराइट एंगल फॉर इट, बट इफ़ आई वेयर टू शो इट यू फ्रॉम द साइड, यू कैन एक्चुअली चेंज द टिल्ट एंगल फॉर इट. आप चाहे तो इसको थोड़ा सा ड्रॉप भी कर सकते हैं. In terms of the AC vents, you get the aviation inspired design, the turbine design for the AC vents. लेकिन और एक वेंट आपको यहाँ नज़र आएगा on the seat. So this is what Mercedes-Benz calls the neck scarf. तो अगर आप ठंडे कंडीशंस में गाड़ी को चला रहे हो और आपको थोड़ी वार्म एयर चाहिए फॉर बेटर कंफर्ट ऑन योर नेक, यू कैन हैव दैट राइट हियर. अगर पीछे की सीट्स की बात करें, वेल दिस इज़ ओनली गुड इनफ फॉर किड्स. मे बी इवन टीनेजर्स आर नॉट गोना फिट देयर और बी कंफर्टेबल देयर. एंड स्पेशली रूफ ऊपर लेने के बाद तो बहुत ही क्लॉस्ट्रोफोबिक हो जाएगा. आप बैक एंगल भी देख सकते हो. इट्स लाइक absolutely upright, so it's not a very comfortable position to be in. Absolutely upright back, and then you can see the lower part being raised that much. So only for kids. लेकिन अगर बच्चे हैं बहुत ही छोटे, you get the isofix style seat mounts for the front seat. So आप आपके बच्चों को, आपके child seat को आगे mount करके you can take them for a drive, and this is definitely going to be the better position to keep them in. They'll at least enjoy the view and enjoy the drive a lot more. तो अभी यहाँ प्राइस की अनाउंसमेंट होने वाली है इस गाड़ी की. Oh, 2.35 crores. So yeah, in terms of the positioning, then it actually is priced better than the AMG GT Roadster. So significantly better than the AMG GT Roadster. So that's a very good pricing. I think 2.35 crore ex-showroom pan India. You can see that price there on the screen. So I think that's a phenomenal price. काफ़ी बढ़िया price है. Anyway, coming back to the car, you can see the blacked out elements for the A pillar or for the entire brace around the front windscreen. तो उसी का matching black shade आपको gloss black shade you can see on the mirrors. You can see some black accents in the wheels. You can see the black accents on this panel here. तो ये black remains common. Even the window lining जो है पूरी वो भी black है. और जैसे हमने E53 में देखा था, E53 कैब्रियोले में, you don't get that massive chrome lining around. It's very subtle. It's much thinner than that. You do get a little bit of chrome on the door handles though. जो badging वगैरह है उस पर आपको chrome नज़र आएगा on the V8 bi-turbo badging etc. So वहाँ पे आपको chrome नज़र आएगा. Wheels में भी थोड़ा chrome नज़र आएगा. And then at the rear again on the badging you get the chrome for the AMG, for the SL55 badging etc. So this is the car. इस गाड़ी को हम बहुत ही जल्द चलाएंगे होपफुली. सो आपके कोई भी सवाल हो इस गाड़ी के बारे में, इसके पोजीशनिंग के बारे में, इसके प्राइसिंग के बारे में, स्पेक्स के बारे में, ड्राइवेबिलिटी के बारे में, let me know. The only thing that I probably cannot tell you is what the resale is going to be like for this vehicle, but obviously looking at the rest of the SLs, इसकी resale भी काफ़ी बढ़िया ही होगी is what I think. Since I spoke of the other SLs, why not let go and take a look at the other SLs. तो ये गाड़ी शायद बहुत लोगों को पता होगी, पसंद भी होगी. दिस इज़ द 4th जनरेशन ऑफ द SL. ये हमने देखी थी दिल चाहता है मूवी में. दिस इज़ द एग्जैक्ट सेम कार. यू कैन इवन वेरीफाई द registration number. This is the exact same car. In fact, Farhan Akhtar was on stage before they made the price announcement, talking about his stint with the SL etc. Lekin this is the exact same car, but that's not the only कार. मेरे इंस्टाग्राम पे आपने देखा होगा, मैंने सिर्फ आपको वो गाड़ी और थोड़े स्केल मॉडल्स दिखाए थे ऑफ द SL lineage, बट दे हैव एक्चुअली मैनेज टू गेट क्वाइट अ फ्यू ऑफ द SLs फ्रॉम द lineage. तो चालू करते हैं W121 के साथ. दिस इज़ द कन्वर्टेबल SL, not the one with the gull wing doors. Hands down, one of the most beautiful SLs ever built. Of course, the gull wing doors edition was the better one. So let's take a look at that cabin. I mean, just look at that cabin. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. इसके अगर clocks देखें, इसका अगर आप steering wheel देखें, it's just something else. I mean, even forget today's age when retro is coming back, classics are coming back, you know, the classic movement is happening. लेकिन उस time के लिए भी, imagine just rolling in one of these. What a beautiful looking car. जो lines हैं गाड़ी के, जो curves हैं, the form, the sheer shape of it, it's beautiful. So this is the 190 SL that you see here. यहाँ पे you see the W113. This is the pagoda top, as they call it. Again, this one looks better with the top up. So जो pagoda temples होते हैं, तो उसके जैसा इसको you have that little curvature, you know, that indentation in between on the top, and I think that looks beautiful when the top is up. There are quite a few of those in India. काफ़ी सारी, not काफ़ी सारी, लेकिन हैं थोड़े बहुत pagoda tops हैं इंडिया में. This is not the only car. In fact, I have seen a red one quite often in Mumbai as well. So this is the 230 SL right there. So this is the second generation of it. Then the third generation, which I think after the original SL, जब shape change होने चालू हो गए, when they all went a little boxier, I think this was the best looking SL, you know, after the original gull wing SL. Especially with the top down, I think this one, the R107, just looks the most beautiful. Maybe it's because we all love this generation of Mercedes-Benz design, you know, W123 पे जो हमने देखा था, फिर other vehicles of this generation. I think it just looks stunning. It just looks beautiful. This, interestingly, is a left-hand drive car, and you can see that the clocks look a lot simpler. They don't have that same flair as we saw on the 190 SL. Lekin, again, it's just got a beautiful charm to it. No seats back here, you know, but you get those window handles right there, those window controls right there. But yeah. Then this is another Dil Chahta Hai car, but in a red color. But I think the blue one looks better. This is the R129, the fourth generation of the SL. ये right hand drive है, और इसकी खूबी ये है कि this vehicle just kept on going and going and going on the production line for years. That is how well received it was, and people just wanted it. People just kept wanting it. So again, cabin very similar to what we've seen on something like the W124, that generation of the Mercedes-Benz. You can see the power window switches there, and the seat heating, seat cooling functions, etc. So all of that is right there. And of course, what the camera cannot show you is the smell. वो old car smell है इसमें, which is beautiful. So यहाँ पे you can see the seat squabs, you know, just for the sake of it, where people could keep their kids. You can also see the seat belt, you know, mounts, etc. And then you also have this roll cage, which would pop out in 0.3 seconds if the car turned turtle, even if the roof was up. So some technological marvels there in that sense. This is another good looking SL. This is the R230. Oh, that's yours? What year did you buy it in?
Huh? What year it is? Okay. What year did I buy it in?
Yeah.
I bought it about 7 years ago.
7 years ago.
Yeah.
So what do you love about it? I am Rohit Paradkar from Overdrive, CNBC, Overdrive magazine, and CNBC TV show. So we're just doing a quick launch coverage of the new 7th generation SL. So what do you like about this car the most?
So this is the 500 SL.
Right.
So it's got a V8 engine and a panoramic roof.
Right.
So and she's got a kick down. So when you you can go to 0 to 100 in maybe 6 seconds. And she's a beast on the road. And she's got active body control. You know what ABC suspension is?
Right.
So it's one of the few SLs surviving which has the original ABC suspension in it.
Superb.
And yeah, it's one of a kind.
And what
it's a pleasure to drive.
I'm sure. I'm very sure.
Yeah.
And what do you think about the SLR McLaren that came with, with a design the one that was inspired by this in terms of the design, you know, the same teardrop.
Yes, with the bonnet and stuff.
Because I think a lot of purists back then thought that the SL is where the design fit right. The SLR, they just sort of made it a little too aggressive, a little too, you know, wannabe. The SLR was the one with the big gills on the side.
Yeah, so that also claimed to fame, got to fame, really famous with the F1.
That is true.
As the this thing car.
Correct. And that
car.
F1 inspired nose as well on that that design.
Each one has its different sort of
I agree.
models and its different strengths. So you can't say which is, you know, better or worse. But yeah, this is a purist and I'm a purist, so I keep the car as original as I can.
What's your good name?
Xerxes.
Xerxes, it was a pleasure meeting you, and thank you so much for talking about the car.
Again, you said?
It's Overdrive. So on YouTube you will find us on OD Mag, Overdrive Magazine. So OD Mag.
Look forward to it.
And one last question: what do you think about the new 7th generation SL?
I haven't seen it properly, but I think it's nice. Could be a little slicker from what I see right now, but I'm sure the engine, the performance, everything Mercedes is Mercedes, so you can't compete with that.
Right.
As far as the body styling, maybe a little slicker would have been better, or a little longer.
Okay.
Because it's a 4-seater and it still looks a little compact to me. But I'm sure it's a beautiful and well-performing car.
Great. We are all looking forward to driving that car. I'm sure you are too.
Right,
and I hope to hear from you again soon.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So that was Xerxes, who owns this beautiful example of the 500 SL. Let me show you the car from the rear as well. I think this was one beautiful looking design. And let's also take a look at the cabin on this car. This is where things started changing shape, let's put it that way. Things got more curvaceous, both on the outside and on the inside. So I think even there, the design looks beautiful. You know, one interesting bit is that panel right there, that opens up and that hides a few controls for, if I'm not wrong, I don't want to touch that car, but I think that was not just for the mirror controls, but I think also some other controls like seat, heating, cooling, etc. If I'm not wrong. If someone knows, let me know in the comments. So this is the facelift of this very car that we just saw. This is the facelift of the R230 model line. And honestly, I was not a big fan of this design or the model that followed. That was the 6th generation of the SL. Wasn't really a big fan of that, but I think many people did like it, especially from the rear. The facelift looks really nice. The front was the bit that sort of polarized purists, but they had to have that clear demarcation over the SLR as well. So I think that is where this design came through. And the 6th generation, like I said, not a big fan of it, but the 7th generation car that you have here, I think it looks stunning, it looks beautiful, and I'm going to give you one final look at the car before we sign out. So this is the car. That is Sophie Chaudhary right there. Hi Sophie. So this then is the 7th generation of the SL. Like I said, waiting to drive the car as soon as possible. We'll have that review out on Overdrive and CNBC very soon. So do stay tuned. अगर आपके कोई भी सवाल हैं इस गाड़ी के बारे में, please put them in the comment section below, and we will try to answer them as soon as possible. Take care and drive safe.